Hello, hello. Happy Friday. We are here in the Raw Think Tank with the core team. And we have so much to talk about. I get so excited for our calls on Friday because I'm like, man, I got my notes. I got my itinerary. That's what I called it this time. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Literally 10 things on the itinerary today. So, and I guess I'll just give a quick overview. We'll be talking about orientation, our roadmap. I'll be working on the white paper this week. We'll be talking about building the metaverse. We'll be talking about our SOPs and the overview I just created, Raw Season 2 workshop, our website timelines, voting in this new structure that I've been kind of thinking of, and even something that Sergio just mentioned when it comes to how we can protect ourselves. And we have different people running different social media, so how you can earn passwords and different things like that. So yeah, that is what's on our agenda for today. So let's dive right in, starting with orientation. What is orientation? This is this idea that we talked about, I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 community calls ago, when it was like we want to have kind of like the safe space. If you guys remember, when I was an onboarder for the Global Designer Network, I would have a safe space every Sunday for 2 hours and just be in an open voice chat that anybody can join to ask questions. So we want to get back to that idea, and this was great because Tiny reminded me, like, hey, we had this great idea, let's try to see if we can figure out how to work that again with orientation and having those like office hours. So CJ, one of our other moderators, it has to kind of focus on her own family things right now, so I'm kind of thinking it's only going to be me and Zay available to kind of kick that off and start as voluntary Zay. I just was thinking about the moderators in that sense. I know Havo may be available as well and can be kind of like our Spanish speaking orientation leader in that sense, and maybe have like a Spanish speaking orientation on one day of the week. But basically the idea is who's available and when are you going to be available to hold those that time. So something when me and Tiny were talking about like how it could kind of look, it can look 2 ways, where we have one day that's kind of like a orientation day, and we can do different blocks throughout the day. Like maybe I take on the morning, so I'll be in there like 6 a.m. until 12 p.m. and then Zay takes on the afternoon and is in there from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and then Havo takes on the evening, so he's in there from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. and that will be the orientation day. Or we can do it throughout the week, where it's like I can take on 1 to 2 hours, because it doesn't have to be long either. For to say that those are blocks of times, you're literally just going to be in a voice channel sitting there so that people know during that time they can jump in, ask questions. New people that's coming, you can kind of give them a spill, but also we have that awesome bot that welcomes people. So another great suggestion from Tiny was including that in there, right? So in our introduce yourself bot, it has this little spill telling people, we respect everybody's gifts. You can head to where to start for onboarding and introduce yourself, and a moderator will be reaching out to you. So in there we can also, just add, if you have questions, we have orientation, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Join there, ask any questions, learn what's going on here. Kind of, creating that safe space again where our new members in the community can come to join. So that's going to be great. I also am thinking, the stuff that we're creating now, we're kind of creating 2 processes. One that works right now with our smaller community, and another one that's going to work really well when we grow exponentially. Because if you think about it, the things that we're doing, we're going to be partnering with, like right now when we do collaborations, that's going to be one of our next steps. So once we have our white paper and our website and our metaverse, like all of our stuff that we're building really rolling, and our initiatives like in full force, we're going to be now trying to collaborate with protocols and educational institutions and marketplaces and the big players in the space who have really, really large communities. And the simplest of facts of, hey, we do peer reviewing. So anybody in your marketplace, can do our peer review and then also learn and networking, have these awesome events that we also do. So, again, we want to prepare ourselves for that overflow. So when creating these systems, that's why I always kind of, remind people what we can do now and also keep that next step on how we'll be able to grow this easily and transition to that next step, where again we can change that to have an orientation every day, because now we'll have more moderators and a whole team and can just start to add more hours from there. So when it comes to orientation, did anybody have any thoughts about that, or anybody would want to be an orientation leader? That's kind of the word I've been using since it's that common phrase when you go to college or camp, anything really, and you have orientation. You have just an orientation leader that kind of guides you through.
So I can do orientation. It's just the times I can do it is before, it has to be before 3:00, because then after it's gonna be hectic in my house.
Right.
So I have to do that, but I'm down to do it whenever, and for a few hours too. I can commit to that.
Okay, sounds like a plan, Zay. So yeah, what I'm thinking too definitely is maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays we can start out something small. I could do Tuesdays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then you could do Thursdays 8 a.m. through 10 a.m. And then like I said, then Havo can have a Spanish speaking day for whatever day works best for him and whatever hours work best for him, because I know his schedule's a little more intricate. So I think that would be a good start for that, and then we can start putting that out to the community. So awesome. I don't see anybody else unmuted for any other questions, thoughts, concerns. Nope. Awesome. Moving right along then. So next on the agenda is our roadmap. Now, if you guys seen, I did share an awesome roadmap. I'm not going to share my screen. You guys can just follow me through the Discord. So where did I share it? I shared it in the core team. So I've also been creating more unlockable chats in the Discord. That's always really fun to me, because I think it's really cool once you get new roles, how stuff starts to get unlocked. And a lot of this stuff I've been thinking how that kind of stuff can even be automated, right? And kind of more gamified, you onboard and then fill out this form. Now you get access to click on a role, because now you're a pledge. And then once you complete a task, now you get access to click on another role that will, actually give you your next role, like educator or strategist, and then unlock more chats and things like that. But just kind of figuring out fun ways to do that. But yes, here in the core team, yesterday I shared a cool roadmap. This was some of the things that I had just kind of thought about, what are we working on, and what's a good way to give us some not even deadlines, but some realistic, deadlines is a good I guess a good word. Some realistic deadlines to start getting this stuff done. And something I want to note there on why it's really important to be realistic is because we are building a Web3 brand, which means what you say is what you want to do. So you don't want to be telling your community that you're going to be able to do something and not be able to do it. It's going to start to look bad on us as a DAO. And especially as we're trying to grow, we want to build with integrity and being able to do what we can. If it's going to take us longer, fine, so be that. I think something that was really cool in Mindshift Meta, instead of doing their roadmap as seasons with deadlines, they call it stages. And each stage can really go on for as long as it's needed. It's more so we're in this stage until a certain task is completed, and then we move on to the next phase. So we could also structure something like that, but for the sake of just getting the information out, this is what I created. So we have for Q2, we'll start the beta trials for the marketplace peer reviews, beginning for miners or mentors and collectors, which means we'll need to create that packaged information. You know, that will include creating the questionnaire, which we said we're going to be starting out on Google Docs, you know, just to start collecting that information. But we also have to create like a visual for the scorecard and the content and the way that we're going to package it and present it to marketplaces and present it to NFT artists, and also present the results and share this information with what we're collecting. So, and again, last week when we talked about Rotten Tomatoes, you know, and how they used, you know, different things, you know, the tomatoes splattered and, you know, popcorn, and, you know, they really had a theme with how they presented that information. So that's something we want to be ironing out and getting out and starting for our beta trials this season. We also want to get our resource website released. Sergio and I were just talking about how security is the step that we're on right now. Before we even get to the next step on how we can get this created and anything released, it's first and foremost, how can we make sure what we're building is secure, efficient, and makes sense? So we're on that step now to iron out those processes and collect that information to, you know, test to see what works best. So and again, if this needs to be adjusted, you know, then we can always start adjusting. That's why it's obviously a call here today, so that we can be updating it. This is just our rough draft. Next will be our first Raw workshop held in the metaverse. Guys, I had the sickest, and I'm telling you, this is the sickest idea for our next workshop. I'm not even going to hold it and say I'm going to get back to it. Let me just tell y'all my idea for our freaking workshop. So, and Musashi, I'm so happy that you popped up, because I was actually going to message you to see if you can, like, help me, because I'm like, I can do this, but if I had some, like, help from an all-star, I know this would actually turn out super, super amazing. But basically, what I would love for us to be able to do is to get into Neos so that we can have our next workshop that's happening in June. Tiny and I also were looking at the calendar to try to, you know, start getting this stuff finalized so we can start getting it out there. I can start talking to the speakers. I'm going to talk more about the entire workshop here in just a bit, but ideally it would be, I think we said dang, I don't even remember the dates, Tiny. You might have to correct me if I'm wrong. I think we said the 17th and the 18th, which is like the second to last weekend in June. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the 17th and 18th, which would be 2 days. We're thinking of like layers of the metaverse, basically, how we have like AR, XR, VR, MR, you know, all these different layers. I'm really cool with Taki Studios. I shared one of her resources before. If you check in the resource chat here and then in the pins, and then scroll all the way down, I'm pretty sure I pinned it in here. If I didn't pin it, then oh, it is here. So it doesn't actually have a picture. It just says Canva designs. But if you click on this, it's called the Digital Avenue. And she actually has like this awesome PowerPoint kind of already explaining the layers and giving that kind of, you know, brief overview on what everything is. So kind of like how we did for our last workshop, where that first day was, you know, what even is this? What are the different attributes? We can have her going over that. And then maybe that night we have another clubhouse talk for our social aspect. Then Saturday we can actually have like a filter creation workshop for that hands-on skill that we try to implement. And actually, you know, we can partner with Entourage and have one of their designers. I'm pretty sure Lillian is their filter creator there. So being able to partner with them and have them in here to show how you actually create a filter and have people, you know, create a filter. And then that night, now this is the awesome idea right here. That night in Neo. So this is what I'm saying, we got to get in Neo so that we can just create, you know, just start. We have to just get a little center. It doesn't have to be this whole massive thing, but like a little meeting area where we can go meet and watch a screen, you know, for our other streams like the Taki event. But how cool would this be? So imagine if we can have a physical times digital fashion show. And if we get funding, so that we can pay some people, we can even have a concert. And it can be kind of like a summer concert in the metaverse as well. But basically, the way I was thinking how we can have a physical to digital fashion show is by having screens. So imagine if there's like, when you go to concert, there's like two big screens on the side, maybe even more depending on how big the arena is. So having a bunch of these big side screens around where the physical models will be, and the physical models can be standing there posing using filters from like Jevels and DressX and even like Hypewear. I just seen that there's somebody that just hopped out in the space. All these new marketplaces that do like filter physical and also physical designers. You can actually be in a real physical piece by having a model on the screen in the filter or in a physical piece, just standing there posing, on the screen while the digital model is walking, and then the screen can go black and then another model can pop up with a different filter and a different physical piece, and you have another digital model walking. And how you have these digital models walking is we can actually import them, wearing these digital fashion pieces. So now we can kind of have this like, hey, you made digital fashion, you can put it on an avatar, you can bring it into the metaverse, and you can walk on this runway and really, again, give this people this full idea on like, hey, I'm not just creating digital fashion for fun. When I'm telling you you can wear it into the metaverse, here's how you can really get that done. So I don't want to kind of make this longer than necessary. Hey, Musashi, I see you unmuted.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, A, yes, I'm definitely down to help with this.
Woo!
B, I already did it in October. With the Metaverse Music Festival. That was something I helped put on, and brought in some of the Global Designers Network designers to do a digital fashion show. The goal was to have a physical fashion show alongside it and be doing exactly what you're saying. So we had a physical party and a physical show, for a music show that went alongside it. Unfortunately, we didn't get our fashion show lined up the same date as our digital fashion show, so those two didn't line up. But we also did it in a platform that wasn't real high fidelity, so I let them all know that I'd be building out a space specifically for this next year in Neos, so that we could do this on a more serious scale and more the way I wanted to do it in the first place. We just didn't have enough time. We were like 2 months flipping chickens with our heads cut off.
Right. And I mean, hey, that's kind of where we're at now as well. That's why I was like, we got to start talking about this workshop because June is going to come up quicker than we know it. And that's why I was even saying, we don't have to build out our grand university, because we have this whole ambition with building out this wonderful raw university, which is going to be great. But if we can build out just a really awesome meeting area where we can just host our next workshop and then have this really cool physical to digital fashion show in the metaverse, have a concert with it, have artists, and then a party after where it's like all the avatars can just kind of walk around and we can talk and there'll be music playing, and make it this whole thing. I think that will just start to, again, give people a bigger vision on all the kind of stuff we're building, right? Because again, if we're able to set it up so that it's a concert, because we already have seasonal workshops, right? So, okay, we have seasonal workshops, then we can have our semi-annual summer concert, and then I'm thinking we can have our annual winter ball, so that again, on the other flip of the coin, when we have another 6 months fast forward, we can, instead of, coming with our rave outfits that we love to get in digital fashion, we can have our formal outfits because those are, just as high in demand as well. And again, it gives people a reason to, actually wear this stuff.
Definitely. And we've got a few communities that'll kind of come together with some of this stuff. In fact, I think I'll be starting a guild that will kind of serve all the DAOs. I've just been asked to join the Uber House Jester's Court, which is a new thing that I talked to them about starting. I'm more on the Heyoka side, but we can talk about that another time. But basically, we'll eventually be presenting all of our information about each of these DAOs in a Jester format, kind of poking fun at our mistakes and what we learned through it, but learning, getting forth the lesson through people. But mainly we'll be doing it in a form of drama on stage in Neos. We'll do live shows, we'll do recorded shows. And I think this is going to kind of play out throughout all the DAOs, where like the Jester's Court or like, the Raw community, maybe our theater ends up becoming something like that too. Moloch Cloudship is basically going to have a public theater where every community can present on. And also for the next build session, I've got a few things lined up for y'all to now that you're a little bit more familiar with Neos and starting to get used to it. I've got some things to give to you and teach you to empower your building process. I know, like, right now, a lot of you probably, you saw some things, you did some things, and then you went home and started a world and realized a few things that you did not know that were like, man, I really need to know how to do this. Yeah. And I think I already know a few of those. Some simple things like we have a tool for just moving the sun where you want it. I'm going to make some instancers for people. So wall panels or doors or anything that you want to be able to grab, and it just makes a copy for you instantly when you grab it, but it leaves the original material there so everybody can kind of just pick from it. It's like a pile of wood that never ends, everybody can take a piece of wood out of it and it's just always there. And then show you all a few like aligners that will allow you to, in Neos, in VR you have native snapping, which makes like putting walls together really easy, or making walls touch the ground really easily, perfectly. But when you're on your desktop, it's really hard to use the native snappers. In fact, it doesn't work most of the time. But even if you're using VR or not, these grid aligners and object grid aligners, axis aligners, sphere aligners, circular aligners, these are all going to help you to build out your space really quick and perfectly.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to try to empower everyone even further from here on out.
Yeah, I love that. And you're coming with like an idea on what we want to talk about. Because I was going to ask about that next too. Like, how do we actually use this dev tool and start like doing some more stuff in there? That's why I was like, man, I got to talk to you anyways to see how we can really start building. So I think our next building session is set. We're on our bi-weekly schedule, so that would be next Saturday. I guess we'll have to drop another let us meet to see if that same 1 p.m. like time, 1 p.m. for me, 1 p.m. Pacific time still works for everyone. And then we'll be building, and then, like you said, we'll keep meeting, keep empowering each other, and keep building out this entire center. So that sounds awesome. Sounds super excited for our next workshop and actually being able to build this out. With that being said, we can continue to move kind of right along. Unless anybody else wanted to had anything they wanted to add, questions, concerns. Welcome, Planet Binks and Acapella. Thanks for joining. We're just kind of we just talked about our Raw Workshop Season 2 that we'll be pre-planning for, and an epic like summer concert, fashion show, physical to digital fashion show we're going to be putting on. I think we're going to have to also start to have more independent meetings, so that like how now we have a separate building club just for building in the metaverse, for our website committee and our workshop committee, kind of separating those so that we can start meeting more and just focusing on those. So I'll be dropping some information more about that, but did want to give you guys some this juiciness. I was over here like typing like a mad woman in my notes, like, and then you can have screens and they're wearing the filters and then flashing black, and then you got the digital. I was pumped with the avatars wearing the clothes. Like, man, I was pumped. I hope you guys are pumped too, because I was over here like, this sounds genius. Like, nobody else is doing this. So, you know, in our physical to digital bag. But anywho, moving right along. So that's our roadmap. Acapella, I don't think you filled this out so far, but if you were to go to the where to start, there's a onboarding form. You would complete that so that you can get onboarded to our full team. I know Binks, you're still sitting in that pledge area, but actually because you attended a community call today, you will officially be onboarded. So welcome to the team. I'll be posting that officially here in just a bit, and then you'll get added to our locked core team chat. That's why I'm just mentioning this, because there is where I actually put a rough draft of our roadmap that I was just kind of going over as well. So anybody that has any ideas with things they think should be adjusted on the roadmap, especially Sergio, you know, if you have any ideas for the website, a timeline you'd like to see for that, Q2, Q3, Q4, feel free to, you know, note that, and what you'd like to see, especially since we have a few things with our website that we have coming out. You know, the first thing that we would like having on there is us being able to show the results for our marketplace reviews. And then we also have this forum style that we're trying to build, you know, where people can kind of just go on there and you know, have it forum style where they can ask questions and anybody can reply. So it is going to be kind of like a growing website, as well as it's going to be a place where people go to find our resources. We have this brain. We'll continue to be building out like SOPs and just awesome resources for people to figure out how to do all this stuff that we're figuring out how to do. Like, every time we're figuring out how to do this, we're creating a document like, this is how you do this, and updating it and giving our reviews so that other people, as they're crossing these same bridges, can be empowered by the lessons we're learning. So we're going to keep building all that. That's the roadmap so far. Did anybody have any questions, thoughts, concerns about the roadmap? Oh, Sergio?
Well, I created like my own, like my own
perfect.
roadmap.
Yes.
For the website.
Awesome. Please share.
Well, I just like just broke it into like 3 tasks. I'm just gonna post it on the engineering.
Okay, you posted it.
Or it's like it's basically like the first tag is like create a WordPress account for the route down, then get a domain name for route down, and then take out a WordPress theme for the website.
Yes, and I'm happy that you mentioned the domains as well, because with our first workshop being a success, which was great, we had, you know, tickets sold. We did earn over $132, I want to say, from all the contributing members actually just donating their proceeds. So very exciting. We'll be able to use that for our domain unless we all vote otherwise to use the funds for something else. But I know initially we kind of were like, hey, first thing we got to do is buy a domain. So kind of something we were saving up for. I'm trying to go to my engineer, so I'm not good at talking and scrolling, obviously.
And then
oh, I can't even.
For the target date that I put for the map, is like it's due on May 15th. And that's just like a goal. It could be faster, you know, slower.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan. Then at least you have your own word roadmap there. I'll go get in there once I'm not actually screen sharing, so I can stay focused on our conversation. But I'm happy you did create that and you broke it down in those things. I know Tiny also has started to look on unstoppable domains for like what domain we actually want to go for. I know last time we had this conversation, we were kind of thinking like a .dao would be something really cool, because we're a DAO, obviously. So we kind of looked at a lot of those like learn learn to earn .DAOs. She even found one that was like $5 using that phrase. So even if we don't use that one necessarily for our website, it could just be another asset that our DAO owns in general, looking at those domains. So I know Tiny will share her list. Everybody can offer ideas, go to Unstoppable Domains, try to find some mixes of learn to earn, physical to digital, raw DAO, find something that sounds like it would be a good, raw resources, what we want to call our resource website is something that we haven't completely decided. So this is where people can, take some homework time, get creative, think about what would be a cool, catchy domain name, because that is one of the first steps we'll have to do. So thank you, Sergio, for creating that. And anybody else? No? Okay.
I was going to ask about the magazine.
Oh, yeah, Zay. You know what? I did not even listen to the replay to see what we were talking about when it came to the magazine. So I
did go. It's 2 hours long. I was like, damn.
I know. That's why I was like, today I'm like, no, we got to talk fast, because I've been putting off listening to the replay because it was so long. So that's why I'm like... But the magazine, basically, we can kind of redo that. I really like doing it on Mirror.xyz. The only thing I don't like about Mirror.xyz is it's very vanilla, I would say, where it's just a white background. You can, make some words look like a title. You can add some links. You can add a quote. But you can make things NFTs. I think that's kind of one of the perks of that. But if we decide, we actually want to build out a magazine that someone wants to curate and publish on a separate platform, I'd be down for that. I know we kind of talked about like starting a bunch of different sections, like having a comic section. I even mentioned like a coupon section, right? Because it's like if you find a free event or discounts for certain things, or like gas meters, all kind of like fun Web3 like coupon editions for a magazine, I thought would be kind of cool to add in that. But kind of like our weekly recap, but like revamped. So what did you want to mention though about the magazine?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing really. I just wanted to know if it was going to be like on the roadmap, or if we were just going to dive back into it, because I did want to do the comic strips. I was I'm part of the Pink Cat DAO, and I was like really inspired by her comics, so I was doing little sketches here and there. Okay, I'm not the best drawer, but they are cute. Okay. It was about people's NFTs, about our NFTs, so I'll show you it once I get inside. Right now, I'm outside playing soccer with my kids. But once I get inside after the call, I'll share it with you so you can see what I did. Nice. But I wanted to work on the comic part so bad.
Awesome! Yay, that's cool. I like that. So yeah, we can definitely talk more about where we would want to host that. Then how we would like to kind of do that, whether it's a seasonal thing, kind of how we had thought about it initially, where it's like, with our workshop, we kind of do like a full recap of our full season and offer the comics as like unlockables and all these kind of different perks, which is cool. I'm all about the unlockables, especially with our governance token, right? And it's like, because we are saying learn to earn and incentives and people, earning these governance tokens that don't necessarily have monetary significance behind them, we want to be able to offer other exclusive perks, that they're going to be getting by gaining more. So I think by having stuff like that, where it's like you can buy this NFT or you can have 200 bill token to access this unlockable, is a really cool way to kind of go about that kind of stuff. So I'm all for that, Zay. We would definitely put that back on the roadmap and figuring out how we can get that going. Even, that sounds like something like you're very interested in. So we'll talk more about, like, again, just how we can get that done this season and whatnot. So moving right along to our next topic is actually our roadmap. So now that we have our rough draft of our white paper, I meant to say, is our white paper. So why is our white paper important? Because we're trying to now look for funding, right? We have this idea like, hey, we kind of want to start getting funding so that we can not have to ask our community to pay for workshops. And there are a bunch of protocols out here that give grants to people that want to educate, that want to help the community. So we put our ducks in a row, you know, we can start applying for a lot of these grants as well. I know Sergio has shared a link in our resource channel. If you're part of that core team, you did get access to that one. It's called admin work, and those under the governance section. So if you look there, he has a link for different blockchain grants. I have gone through and read through a few. I gotta look at my screenshots, because I took screenshots of some that I think would be like kind of cool and easy to start applying to. What was it? Oh, Kraken was a cool one. Gnosis. One thing, or was this one? Yeah. So some things about them is like you have to be building on their protocol in order to apply for their grants, but some you don't. So you just have to kind of go in there, look at them, see their qualifications. Some are for more specific things like again, you know, like ecosystem building or like metaverse building. So, you know, seeing which ones we're going for and why this matters, going into the next topic also with grants. So if we're going for grants, something that will kind of help us is, I did have also another conversation with 3DC. He is one of these OG builders over in the Mindshift Meta Discord that we're kind of a part of. You guys have probably seen Austin in here. He's one of our raw strategists. So we've kind of been figuring out how we can collaborate. Like right now, they're trying to create like a Snoop Dogg concert. So they asked us to create an outfit for Snoop Dogg. So if anybody wants to kind of help with that, feel free. It's kind of just me at this time, but open to collaborations. I didn't see any other designers kind of hop out there that they'd be interested, but that is something that they're trying to do. So but his actual developer heard you know, me talking about the raw DAO and our university and building out our university, and is very, very interested in actually helping us build that into fruition. Something that's really cool about that as well is he builds right off of Unreal Engine 5, and they're basically trying to build they're basically building their own metaverse for others, which is kind of like a common thing. But I like being a part of communities like that, because I don't think you necessarily have to go to like a Decentraland to be in the metaverse. You know, if that's where you're at and all your people are going where you're at, that's great. And I think Unreal Engine 5 is amazing. The graphics is out of this world. So something that you guys all know is with our university in general, we've been talking a lot about having hubs in like every single metaverse anyways, and adding that also to like our peer review system, like what it was like building in this metaverse compared to building in this metaverse. So I think it's also going to be cool to have, you know, a team that can actually help us build right off of Unreal Engine 5 as well. And I'll share a link to show you guys the studio that he built as well. But basically, it'd be if you're like watching some like cool ass graphic movie, you know, because the effects are that cool. So they basically were saying we can build our whole university there, and it'd be like this whole massive, like super detailed thing, like Harvard status of the universities in there. But it does come with a pretty ticket. And that's what I'm getting at. So first and foremost, even like how Sergio and I was talking, when you're doing these things, you have to understand these things are going to start costing money. You're going to have to worry about security, storage, a lot of behind the scene things that we're going to start learning about. And so with that, he was basically saying we would want our own server, right? Because of what we would be wanting to accomplish, we would want our own server. So server starts out at $3,900 period. And then if we have an asset builder actually that's going to be focused on building our whole university for us, and you know, making sure that's all done, it would basically go up to like $9,000 to $10,000. And that would be for like super Unreal Engine 3D university. which if this is the route we decide to go, and I'm not saying I've made any like calls at all, I just took a bunch of notes so that I can come back and bring you guys all the information on with a lot of our options. But if that is what we decided to do, it could basically kind of be like our main hub, right? Since it's like this, it would be like the super optimized version on the Unreal Engine. So that would kind of be like our main like university hub, and then we can have our Raw University Neoverse, Raw University Crypto Voxels, Raw University Decentraland, you know, and have our separate hubs from there. And that's why I even was saying for our workshop this season, it doesn't have to be this whole massive thing we're thinking. It can just be a place where we can actually go and meet, right? A place where we can have people can be streaming on Twitch, and you can tell your Twitch streamers to still go into our metaverse area, where we can still make something that's functional so that we start just continuing to grow and grow and grow more. So that's something at first, you know, people hear that price and they get alarmed, but I was looking at it like that would just help us more when it's coming to applying for grants. And it's like, well, what do you need grant money for? And it's like, well, we need $10,000 to build our university in the metaverse, and we need another $10,000 to, you know, pay our other engineers that's writing smart contracts and building websites and other metaverses, and, you know, paying, you know, for all kinds of stuff, and being able to even pour back into our community, you know, and be able to buy the NFTs from people using our themes, and just so many other things that we'll be able to actually outline and do within our community, because we aren't going to be having a marketplace to collect fees, you know, and charging people for more than like our workshop. And we didn't even really want to charge like $15, $20, you know, for that. So having it in the metaverse, we will also be able to change the style of tickets, you know, where they're NFTs. So now they're also worth a little more, and we can start to earn more. So, you know, looking at those kind of ways for like how we can actually start to expand this project for real, and attract, you know, the real heavy hitters in here. Those are some of the things we definitely have to consider. So I'll put everybody on the homework to check out that link about grants in the admin chat. Look through those. Like I said, I'm gonna be working on the white paper this week in order to start putting some ideas together, updating our Git book, and just, again, you know, making sure we're putting ourselves in a position to really be a powerhouse in the Web3 space. Like, we are a real Web3 project with real ideas that are real different from everyone else, and I want people to know it. You know, we're all very humble people, but I want our, you know, work to do the talking for us. So that's one of our goals for sure that we're working at now. And any questions, thoughts, concerns about grants, the metaverses, workshops, anything before we move along? No? Awesome. Okay, so last thing then. Oh, actually two last things. So will be the one that I want to go over first. So voting. So also going kind of in line with this whole governance token thing that we've been talking about. So governance tokens and how it can unlock certain things. One idea that I've also been thinking about lately, hearing different ways that like other DAOs have been organizing like voting, because voting is a laborious thing. You know, everything sounds great, like, oh, everybody gets to vote, but then it's like, who really wants to vote on everything? That's why then you start to get a lack of participation, and people feel pressured, and whatever. You know, everybody's in communities for different reasons, and that's perfectly fine. So something I've been thinking about is how to, you know, put those people that want to do that kind of stuff in a position to do that kind of stuff. So say for voting, right? We have our traditional US like judicial like system where it's like 3 different branches, right? And it's 3 different branches so that there's a balance and there's a process that voting actually goes through. So I was thinking a way that we can, you know, kind of start to format our actual governance system is by first kind of starting with something like a town hall system, where any of us, any core members, any community members, you know, we can have a community call where anybody would put out any proposals that they would like to see, any initiatives they would like us to take part of, any collaborations they are affiliated with that they would like us to join a part of, any changes that they would like to see, like anything at all. We'd have a town hall and people can present those ideas, and then it would kind of move into the first step of being able to then go get amended. You put out a proposal and now you have a first step of people in that first branch. And I don't want to start misspeaking on our real political system, but in the raw DAO is what I'm saying. Like, then it will move on to like our first branch, right? And maybe there we have our moderators, where they're looking at the proposals and seeing if there's any adjustments that they would like to make, seeing the feedback from the community and trying to put all the pros and cons and feedback from the community and kind of trying to amend a proposal that kind of works for everybody. And then it would go to the next thing, and then maybe now the educators can actually say, we want to actually pose this to vote on the community. And then one really cool thing I'm thinking though is how we have these awesome workshops, right? And we have these workshops because you're learning about stuff. So maybe when we're learning about this kind of stuff, that also is how you start to earn these different privileges for voting, right? Because it's like, now say we want to actually make a marketplace, and we're like, okay, well, what blockchain do we want to be on? Maybe if we have a blockchain workshop, it's like, okay, if you want to be eligible to be on the electoral college, it's the word I'm going to call it for right now because it'd be the equivalent, the people that actually do the voting. If you want to be in that group of people that will actually do the voting for blockchain decisions, then you have to go through our blockchain workshop so that you have the knowledge to make informed decisions on this kind of vote. So now we're really, again, giving people power with knowledge and changing that slogan into something that's for real, or you've earned a certain amount of governance tokens. So now that's, again, puts you in another electoral college where it's like you can vote on marketing strategies or, different things and different things like that. But, finding like a cool way to kind of do governance, maybe in a system like that where, we can try different things, because you could do, right now we've been doing like 1-to-1 voting, although we all have been accumulating our governance tokens. We haven't used like, oh, I have more than you, so my say matters more than you. And I think when you think about that kind of transition, it's like, okay, well, why would somebody say matter more than somebody else's? Like, how can we really balance this system in something that makes sense, especially like if we're about to start having angel, I don't even want to say angel investors or any type of investors, but grants. People in a traditional Web3 brand, you can have Patreons who can just, do the same thing as grants, just give you money so that you can fund it and expect no returns, but instead can receive a governance token for each dollar that they've donated. So now that they've just got that amount of say. But then it's like, well, now anybody can come and put a bunch of money in, and now they've got a bunch of say. So it's really about looking at all the options that we have available and trying to figure out the best one, because we will be relaunching our governance token. We do want to be figuring this out and figuring out the best way to go about it. So that's something that I've been racking my brain around as well, to kind of figure out a great way to start to do that, advertise that, put it together, because again, I'm preparing for the overflow. I don't know if y'all ready, but I feel it coming, okay? Where the right partnership is going to really just set us off. I know sometimes you guys see, I join one space and then we'll get a few people coming in, and I realize, again, the more that we talk about it, people always get super excited when I'm telling them about the stuff that we're doing and say, wow, nobody else is doing that in the space. Or I was just saying somebody needs to be doing that and you guys are doing it. So the more people find out that we're doing it, the more people are going to want to be a part of it. And we want to be prepared for that. So that's my idea. That was some ideas I had when it came to like governance tokens, voting, actually earning that. Sergio and I was kind of talking, even when it comes to like that earning in governance tokens. That's how maybe you can earn the password for social media, right? Like you may have had to been on the core team for more than 90 days and have 200 build tokens in order to, you know, get the password to be able to share and different things like that, you know, where it's like just it sets parameters that we can all agree on and then all start to automate. Because you also want to keep in mind, we want to be able to automate a lot of this stuff. We also want to make sure a lot of this stuff is like black and white, where we don't have to be manually doing a lot of it, especially once we grow. So I haven't seen anybody unmute for questions, thoughts, or concerns on that, which is fine. I know that was kind of a lot to process there, but definitely make sure if you think of something or see other communities that are working well with doing, you know, different kind of governance votings and whatnot, always share it in the ideas chat. We are always looking at ideas on how we can better ourselves. So last thing on the agenda is our SOP overview. So our SOPs, I will finally share my screen again because I do have all this stuff actually up. Now in the updates chat, I did just share a YouTube video that I made in order to go through a full walkthrough. But basically what you're going to want to do, and I think a lot of you have not actually accessed our brain yet. So if you go to updates and then in our pinned messages here, you scroll down to our Google Drive and you click on Google Drive. This is the raw brain. We are all about collecting resources for real and trying to save them so that we can repurpose them, re-put them out there. We're trying to create this brain for businesses, for NFT artists, for anybody looking to go physical to digital. We want to be that resource center. So with that being said, something that we're trying to do is actually create SOPs for the different things. So when you come in here, you see, again, we have different categories you guys can look through on your own time. But SOPs, we have SOPs for businesses, SOPs for NFT artists, SOPs for physical to digital process, and SOPs for the raw DAO. SOP simply means standard operating procedure. So it's just like the process, like literally the step-by-step process. Actually, let me show this. I also shared this link. This is a Milanote link. Oh, I seen a bunch of you guys, or Sergio joined here as well. So that's cool. Milanote is a group mood board kind of thing that you do. So we do have a bunch of mood boards that we already work on as a group. This is ours for SOPs. So if you guys ever see us talking about like join this Milanote, you definitely join it. You can see like we have one for the raw rec center and kind of trying to come up with some ideas on how that looks, and for social media and, you know, how we would like that to kind of come about, as well as our think tank. And, you know, these are just notes from things that we've talked about before and trying to organize. So anyways, back to our SOPs. So here you guys can see, again, we've started by first outlining our values, what our focus is on, our resource website, our Metaverse University, our weekly recaps. I put that there with the same intention of our magazine, understanding that that's the focus. Seasonal workshops, semi-annual runway show / summer concert, winter ball. I did add that after my brilliant idea last night, like I told you guys. The peer review system. You know, those are our focuses and these are our values. So these are the kind of things we want to be keeping in our forefront. So when we're creating SOPs, these are the things that we actually need to make for our DAO, like how to create educational content, curriculum planning. And when I say curriculum planning, it's kind of like how this month for Twitter Spaces, it's like helping NFT artists, right? So last week we talked about creating storytelling for NFT artists. Next week will be about community building. The week after that will be about marketplaces, and kind of, again, creating curriculums, or for the workshops, you know, creating informative information that we can be building around, because it makes a difference. People do notice, And, you know, somebody has to actually kind of plan that. So how to do that though, right? All of this is how to do it. So I'm not going to go into all these details, but I would suggest all of the core members definitely take a look at here so you can see some of the things that I've kind of outlined. I think each group should be focusing on creating the SOPs for. And this is based on just what we do so far, like creating processes so that people understand what that is. So what does that even mean, process, right? So if you go to SOP, I have added 2 so far to the raw DAO one. So if you see, like, this is the SOP that I created so far for actually creating SOPs. It is very straightforward. It does not take a lot. The biggest thing here, and I also created this template, and this is why I made a YouTube video, because I actually walked you through, like, here's how you find us on the brain again, and here's how you actually copy this and fill it in. But this is a template that you can actually access here. I do have the link for the Google Doc, so you just click that, and then you copy it, and then you can edit it to import, add your own information. So let me see, I'll go back to this one that's already filled in. So again, very, very easy. Who is this needed for? And you write out these steps. What is this process for creating SOPs? Number 1, set a goal. Some points here on setting a goal, right? Outlining all of the steps there. Think about when you were in first, second grade, and it's like, how do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You know, and then having somebody peer review it for you, know, having another moderator look at it and see if there's any steps missing. And then after that, it will be ideal to then try to have like a strategist or an engineer test it to make sure it makes sense, which isn't always necessary. As long as you have had it peer reviewed, I'd suggest just adding it to the brain and then testing it whenever you can. But we definitely want to start building this up and reminding people you can do this for whatever. You see there's a glossary. So imagine, one example I gave is, imagine if we have these SOPs for software that we use, like SOP for using DAZ 3D, SOP for using Clone 3D, SOP for using Unreal Engine, where it's like, you know, what kind of people are going to be using this? What's the process for actually using it? What are some necessary documents? Where are the links that I have to download? What are some other, you know, YouTube videos that I can watch to help me kind of get started? Some Udemy courses, whatever kind of references that whoever's creating this SOP wants to include, that will be included. The glossary, what are some key words that I can be over here learning about that have to do with this topic that I'm over here learning about? And that's why we even have our SOPs broken down in for businesses, because in our for businesses, we can put a SOP for DAOs, SOP for community management, SOPs for governance allocation, you know, like the SOPs for how we're doing what we're doing, SOPs for minting on each marketplace. I think it would be brilliant if every time somebody minted on a marketplace, they created an SOP for how to mint on that marketplace, because that's also something else we said we wanted to have on our resource website, right? When we do that peer review and we're saying like, hey, this is, you know, the OpenSea marketplace, and here's how you actually mint on there, and here's some reviews for it, so that we're giving these NFT artists all the resources they need in order to go out here and mint NFTs and be successful. Also physical to digital, you know, how to crochet, how to make resin trays, how to make patterns out of your dog's fur, you know, how to make patterns out of tie-dye, how to, you know, use the patterns, how to use the theme, different things like that, you know, that we can talk about with that physical to digital, how to use a 3D printer, how to use just so many different things. You guys can start to get the point. And then for the raw DAO, I already showed you guys our Miller note for the things that we need to do, so that as our team grows, again, if say, you know, again, we have an awesome space and we get 100 new members, and then our core team doubles, you know, now instead of everybody having to explain everything, we can just point to our SOPs and say, yeah, you can go there, and any questions you have, you should be able to find out how to get that done in there. So the more SOPs that we're able to create, the more information we're able to collect, the better off we're all being. So the goal is to have the entire community involved with that as well. You know, we're trying to get everybody involved in general. Like, that's what we're here to do. And not even just the raw DAO community, but like the Web3 community, right? Because there's so many people with so much knowledge, and everybody was just complaining about how Wiki, you know, is taking down this information, and I'm just over here like, they worried about Wikipedia, and we over here building the raw brain and about to come with our own resource website. So it's like there's this big problem, and we have the solution. So we gotta have that pedal to the metal, put the system together, and then just start. You know, if we have the system together, it's then nothing to tell people like, hey, go and create a step-to-step on how to do that. And then they start, you know, being excited because now they see the other stuff that they're able to learn from it. And then tell the next person like, hey, I know somebody who knows a bunch of stuff and loves doing stuff like that. And like I said, you know, like Sergio right now, he's going through the security steps for our website. So it's like, make SOPs as you're going through creating a website. You know, he's all about creating references in general anyways. So, you know, create the resources, share those resources that you're using on how to create this website, so that again, when the next person in the space crosses path, we have some of our own experience that we can share and insight to help them out. So that's an overview. Again, I did go a little more in detail with how to actually copy it, fill it in, upload it to the brain. All very simple. I'm sure you guys would even know that. But for my own pattern's sake, it's like create a SOP, create a YouTube video, even on our YouTube channel. If you guys check out our YouTube channel, I did even add an extra new playlist called SOPs or how-tos, so that all of our community members can start creating how-to videos. And again, it can start going under there. So our YouTube becomes resourceful, because if our YouTube gets monetized, again, that's more avenues that we're creating, you know? So those are some of the things that have been on the agenda today, some of the things that we're working on, some of the things that we need ideas for, input on. Did anybody have anything they'd like to share about anything we've talked about today? Any thoughts, questions, concerns, anything else that I haven't mentioned that you guys would like to talk about before we go?
Like,
I did want to add the birthday. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, hold up, say.
Okay. I kind of do, but like, it's just like a resource. But like, I think this it's called it's a foundation which is called like Open Source Security Foundation. But I think this is a good resource to like copy like the best practices and practice and tools to secure open source software. But like, maybe we could like use their process to like secure the raw DAO. Okay. I'm just gonna post the link to it.
Yeah, I was just about to ask where you posted. So you posted an ideas. Perfect. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I see a bunch of people have been sharing stuff, so I'll definitely go back through, look at all those links everybody's been sharing. This is going to be awesome. Okay, great. I'll definitely check that out and see how we can implement that. Everybody look into that. Look into the grants. Look into securing our website, securing our DAOs. Look into domain ideas for our DAO, so we can start kind of getting that rolling. We'll be following up with that conversation next Friday at our next community call. Like I said, we may even need to start having a separate meeting just to talk about the website, which we had kind of tried to do before and worked well, because they don't have to be long. You know, if we're just talking about one thing, it could be 15 minutes, it could be 30 minutes, and it's like, hey, this is what I found out, this is what you find out, this is what I'm about to do, this is what you're going to do, and let's keep going. So, but as we kind of start to actually tackle bigger tasks or getting that kind of stuff done, definitely would be open to adding more of that. Zay, I know you said you wanted to talk about birthdays. Great idea. We did add that happy birthday chat, which was a really great idea that Zay posed, all about the birthdays. I feel a little bad sometimes because I don't like leaving people out, but maybe what I would do is update the Google form again and ask people to share like their birthday month. They don't necessarily have to put their whole birthday if they don't want, but at least their birthday month. And then we can trickle that into actually dropping birthday NFTs as well. So once our contracts are relaunched, we're going to have our massive airdrop. Also kind of need to start packaging, and I keep calling it packaging because we just have to like put it in a bunch of content in a way that we can be sharing it to the community. But right now we basically have this idea called the rainy day fund, so that you're building up your rainy day fund, and then we're going to have a big airdrop day where it's going to pour and all your governance tokens will be dropped. All the airdropped NFTs that you've been building up will be dropped. Because I really love dropping airdropping the NFTs for things. I'm happy we still have the co-op going on, which is great for like Twitter Spaces, but actually having our own smart contract and our own NFTs that people could look at on OpenSea, I always thought was a really cool bonus. So people that made it to like season 1 workshop, I would love to even add them to that, rainy day airdrop and give them something for when they attend it. But just keep building up that rainy day fund. So in the meantime, something like that would be cool for our birthday NFTs as well, because that would be a cool airdrop. Everybody likes when it's your birthday and then you go to the stores and you get a whole bunch of rewards. So that'd be cool. I know Zay and I had even mentioned being able to put it to the community, like having a different community member create a birthday NFT for that season. You guys know our seasons are in line with each quarter. So it's about each one is 3 months. So, each NFT artist can create a birthday NFT, and that would be airdrop. Like right now it's airdrop for April, May, and June. And then we'll keep going from there. So Zay, did you want to add anything though about that?
Yes, I did. I thought it was really cool when you mentioned the birthday suit. I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah.
As like an NFT or and like what is that? I always try to like have trouble. I can't even talk right now. I have trouble trying to figure out what I'm trying to say, because like how you have your suits. Your NFT suit, like something like that, as an NFT to give to everyone.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was saying birthday suit, kind of.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, wow, that would be really, really cool. Because then they could put it, if they make an avatar, they can put it on their avatar.
Right, and then they got their avatar in a birthday suit. That would be really cool. I forgot that we had even said the birthday suit for the NFTs, but yeah, and then that would be cool, right? Because then it's like we all kind of have that fashioned underlying thing that's in common. Although we do open it up to any kind of NFT artist, a lot of us are focused in fashion, and we get a lot of our insight because people be excited that we're into fashion. So I really like, if we can bring that into the birthday NFTs, and it's like you get that birthday outfit, that would be really cool. So I'd definitely be down for that. I will definitely be making some birthday suits to contribute for the airdrops, but would definitely love to see other members in the community, submit their kind of stuff. And I know we have a few digital designers that kind of stay to themselves until it's time for stuff like that, and then come out with some really awesome 3D designs. So I think we'll get a lot of good feedback. Again, everybody, does different things in the community, and that's awesome with me. As long as they're happy, I'm happy. So that sounds like a plan, Zay. We would definitely get that rolling. I am still in my Learn Web 3 course, which is really awesome. Still, you get to learn it for free. I am very much a deep researcher though, so because I really want to learn how to make smart contracts and really want to understand it, I am not rushing it. That's why something you've seen as I put that on for season 2, because I really want to understand this stuff so that I can keep writing smart contracts with us, so that I can protect our smart contracts, so that this is a skill that I've truly gained and can operate within and feel confident in, rather than trying to just remix and try to force something and fast forward it when that's not necessary. So definitely getting our smart contracts. Man, there was something else I was just about to say and forgot, and I feel like it was important. But smart contracts, Learn 3D. It's like at the tip of my tongue, but it's gone. I don't remember. So yes, but I think that's it, guys, unless anybody else had anything else that they wanted to talk about. Nope. Okay, awesome. Last thing, I remembered that Sunday was Easter, so I know we usually have our content creation jam fest, but I don't celebrate holidays, but I don't want to impose on others that may be celebrating. So I think we'll be putting a pin in our creation session this Sunday and resuming that the following Sunday, unless everybody doesn't celebrate and would just prefer to keep our jam session. I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there and see how you guys felt about it. I know the only other people that may have made it was Zay, Tiny, but of course anybody's welcome. We just used the music bot, played a bunch of songs. Actually, I did see Binks in there jamming with us for a bit. Yeah, and like I said, I wouldn't mind doing it even if it was only for an hour, but did want to pose that to the group. See if you guys want to just chill this week.
If you guys want, well, we could do like Monday if you guys aren't busy at all, like for an hour.
Monday?
Just for this week.
Okay.
If you guys want, yeah, it's up to y'all.
That sounds like a plan. I know when it comes to that meeting, I definitely like to have all of our strategists there, especially China, since she runs the Instagram page. So what we can do is talk about a different date and see if Monday will work. And if anything, just talk about the content that we're going to post that week. Maybe we don't have to have a full jam session with the music and content creation, but just talking about the content we'll be posting that week, and making sure everybody's is in line. Did everybody feel okay last week with after we had that jam session, created a bunch, had like a plan? I know I felt great on Twitter, having like all my content ready, creating threads with it, having like a schedule kind of around some things, I wanted to post, so that we were advertising like our spaces. This was our biggest spaces yet. It had 44 people in it. And I think, I had a little bit of that consistent promotion because we had it kind of like Monday and then Wednesday, and following up here and there kind of worked well for me. Zay, were you posting on TikTok at all? Did it work out well for you as well?
I haven't put anything out on TikTok yet, which I'm going to do today. Only because I was like trying to figure out how to make all the stuff, like basically everything that we made in the content creation, how to make that make sense, like the task and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I can make it today.
Okay. Yeah, and do what you can. I know TikTok, even if it's not like a bunch of the same stuff that we put on there, putting NFTs, digital fashion, even if it's not necessarily from the raw DAO, if it's news, because that's a really big thing on TikTok. And I know it's something on how we can start to gain a lot of traction. Like, this is what we're about: physical to digital fashion, filter fashion, with Metaverse. I know you took a lot of clips from that, and different things like that on how we can actually, use this really cool content on ways that people like looking at really cool content like TikTok. So I get that. It sounds like a plan. Okay, cool. Well, this has been a very great conversation, guys. I'm going to wrap it up now, and I hope everyone has an awesome rest of your weekend. Thanks for listening. To all of our listeners, make sure you drop your ideas in the ideas chat, and we'll talk again same time next Friday. Peace.